Hello, as Allison said, my name is Holly Lynn Miranda. Wicked feminine, I know. I grew up in a small town in coastal New Hampshire where summers are spent on the beach and winters on the slope. My house is a quintessential New England cape with a large maple tree in the front yard that turns bright red come fall. I live with my two lovely parents, my younger sister Kaylee, and our dog, Levi. This frankly idyllic upbringing did nothing to clear this gray haze that dominated my worldview. Some days, it was nearly transparent. Others, well, it was a dense smoke. Often, I found that I couldn't breathe. My parents will not admit that I was an anxious child. They would probably use the term worried. And I worried a lot. From a young age, I always focused on how others perceived me. I desperately wanted to know, or everybody to know, that I was tough, and so much so that I insisted everybody in my family call me Buttercup, like the Powerpuff Girl. You know, the green one? My mom will always says this story where I came home from preschool one day and said, "Mom, call me Buttercup. I want to be tough, just like her." She was my idol growing up, and I admired how she was headstrong, brave, slightly reckless, and never took anything from anyone. I wanted to be just like her. However, for me, self-perception is starkly different from reality. I believed that I was weak. This internal battle kept waging inside my head all throughout middle and high school. It then transformed into an entirely new entity after my mother was re-diagnosed with cancer during my 3rd week here at Elon. While I could function with my anxiety, I could not with my depression. I was in a fierce denial for a long time that there was a problem. I'd convinced myself that fighting the urge to crash my car off the side of the road was normal, and that not being able to sleep for less than 5 hours a night was normal. After a rather disastrous fall break my sophomore year, I decided to get help. And I thought I was weak for getting help. Fast forward 8 months, and I found myself hysterically sobbing in a hotel room in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, convinced that I had made the worst and most expensive mistake of my life. I thought I was weak for being scared and unsure of what was coming next. However, Tanzania is the most important thing that I have ever done for myself, academically, physically, emotionally, and hell, even spiritually. I quickly found that there was no fog or smoke in the highlands of Iringa, and I could just breathe. Coming home was hard. Let's just leave it at that. January through August 2019 was one gut-wrenching blow after another. I don't know what hurt the most. Knowing a loved one who lives 45 minutes away from this exact spot in the Newman Lumen Pavilion needed reconstruction surgery after attempting suicide. Or that same person saying, "I love you" to me and being unable to reciprocate it while I was leaving the psychiatric ward of UNC. Or coming home from a run a day after she died to find my mother, who I've never seen cry, sobbing over the sink because, and I quote, "it was worse than last time. They won't let us see her." Loss isn't easy in any capacity, but it's even harder to process when all the signs were there, but you didn't see them because the smoke was everywhere and you could barely breathe. Lost in the smoke, I lost another loved one because I could not see a thing. I thought I was weak because I had a broken heart and it had torn me in two. And then, somehow, I woke up one day this past September and everything was okay. The smoke that dominated my worldview for so long had dissipated. For the first time in years, which I know sounds overdramatic, I'm 21 years old, but I truly mean years, I did not wake up with this tension in my neck. I did not wake up thinking of when I could go back to sleep and be dead to the world for 8 hours. I did not wake up secretly hoping that something, anything, would take me out of my misery. That morning, I sang along to shitty pop music in the shower at the top of my lungs, and that was the moment I knew something changed. Maybe it was losing not one, but two of the most influential people in my life. Maybe it was my new medication. Maybe it was acceptance of the cards that had been dealt. Maybe it was meeting my new best friends, who are here, which is amazing. Maybe it was finally realizing that I was strong in those moments of weakness that I had let define my life and my self-worth for so long. Like how I got typhoid while I was abroad, I have no clue how it happened, but I'm glad it did, because I have a damn good story to tell. Thank you.